Hi there, Autumn Bear here. Here to talk a little bit about health and wellness and answer some questions that I've been getting. The question today that we're going to talk about is male fertility. So, being that men are 50% of the population, when it comes to infertility, they actually make up 50% of the population when it comes to infertility as well. Only the problem with that is there's not a lot of treatment for men. The majority, in fact, all the treatment comes for women, regardless of which side of the playing field is having issues. So fertility, when we look at, or especially infertility, when we look at that from a Chinese medical perspective, there's a couple different angles. And the two aspects that we really look at more than anything else is the health of the lungs and the health of the kidneys. The lungs are responsible for the dissension of qi. They're responsible for helping things to move downward. And the kidneys are really what provides us with the genetic material that becomes essentially the sperm and or the fertilization of the egg. And so obviously the content and material that we are working with is also important. So how do we nourish the lungs and how do we nourish the kidneys? The lungs really require a lot of moisture. So the best way we can do that through our diet is going to be through eating pears. Pears tend to target the lungs in particular, and they really help moisten the lungs. If you're using essential oils, pine has an affinity to the lungs themselves. So that's a great aromatic if you want to kind of diffuse that in your home environment, or if you're lucky enough to get to go to the mountains and really breathe in that pine air, that's really going to nourish the lungs. And if we're talking about nourishing the kidneys to kind of really make sure that that Jing and that DNA material is really strong and effervescent and you know, mobile and so on and so forth, we really do that through the use of crustaceans and seafood. Seafood really nourishes the kidneys more than anything else, the mollusks. So the mollusks are going to be your mussels, your clams, your oysters, things like that. So if you're really into seafood, that's going to be the best way to nourish your kidneys. And of course, we want to avoid things that are going to damage our kidneys and our lungs. Obviously, smoking is going to be a big damaging factor. So if you're thinking about getting pregnant and you think you might be having some issues with some fertility, quitting smoking would be a fantastic way to start that process. Also, drinking can damage the kidneys long term. Long-term use of antibiotics and certain types of prescription drugs can really damage the kidneys. So all of those things are things you want to start to consider as you're taking into account this new adventure in trying to conceive. And for those of you who are in fact trying to conceive, the best of luck to you, and hopefully we can help you answer some questions in the future.